Hello there. This is Shawn1113 podcast show. I am Shawn1113, your host. Thank you for joining me wherever you may be listening to, wherever you are, and wherever platform you might be on. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, what have you. Thank you for joining me either way. With that, let me give you the Shawn1113 episode for March 31st. And by the way, happy Easter, all and every one of you. Happy Easter to all of you and your families as well. With that, let me start with the NCAA Final Four. I do believe Gonzaga will still win, but Baylor's probably the other one might beat them, but UCLA, I can't sleep on them after they beat Michigan last night. I really do. And Houston, you can't sleep on them. It can really go either way if it's all possible. I still see Gonzaga winning this year, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll see though. Everybody's bracket's been pretty much busted, so in my opinion, it's been it's been a very interesting tournament. Really has. In the NFL, 17 games are coming to it. So for people who are probably the happiest people will probably be the people who do fantasy football and the people who gamble, having extra games and having less preseason games. I would rather put preseason all together, have scrimmages, in my opinion, and be done with that, and then have the 17-game NFL and see who stands out. Right now, everything's toward Tampa Bay being the favorite right now, but you never know. At the point, I think Tampa Bay will be the team to beat in the Super Bowl this year. The repeated champions. We'll see what happens there. But like I said, that's an early projection at that point as well. And now for MLB predictions. Baseball is coming up. Major League Baseball is coming up. So I'm going to give you my predictions first on the National League. Let me record this for 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. The National League East, I pick Atlanta to win that division, with the New York Mets challenging for that pennant. The NL Central, the Chicago Cubs, in my opinion, will win the National League Central, and St. Louis will be on their tails. I can tell you that. NL West, the Dodgers, and in my opinion, the prohibitive favorite to repeat as champions, will win the National League West. But I do think San Diego has made very good strides in the last couple of the seasons, and I do think San Diego will be I would not be shocked if San Diego did win the NL West, but I do think the Dodgers will win and San Diego will challenge for that wild card. Wouldn't shock me. Or neither does St. Louis in the National League. In the American League, in the East, I have the New York Yankees, followed by Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay will be in the wild card. I don't think it was a fluke last year that they went to the World Series the way they did. And I know the format was unusual for last year. I know it's a more normal format, the wild card format. Don't be shocked if Tampa Bay makes the playoffs, but I do expect the Yankees to win the American League East, because everybody else right now, I don't have a whole lot of confidence of, in my opinion. The AL Central, the American League Central, it's a harder pick, but I'm picking Minnesota to win that division. By the Chicago White Sox, I think the White Sox do have a chance to win that division. I think Cleveland has a chance, and I think Kansas City has a chance. It's a very tough call for that division, but I do pick Minnesota to win the AL Central. And the American League West, I'm picking Oakland, followed by the Los Angeles Angels. I think if there's a, that's actually a harder pick than you think, but I'm picking Oakland to win that division, and I would not be shocked if the Angels go to walk or even win the AL West, in my opinion. So that's the American League, and that's the National League, and that's the Major League Baseball predictions 2021. And also, one other thing, I want to put a side note about this. Everybody is moaning and wailing about equal pay for women's sports. But here's your equal pay for women's sports in the United States. Women's tennis. Has anybody ever figured that out? Why they get equal pay? Because they worked at it. And they generate revenue. Women's professional tennis. Otherwise, you got to go overseas to get the money. Ladies have to go overseas to get the money. To be perfectly honest. And then maybe gymnastics and maybe figure skating every 4 years of the Olympics. But women's tennis is the only sport that I can think of. I'm sure there's maybe more than one sport. It's probably the professional women's tennis to me is the only sport I think that has the equal pay or the closest thing to equal pay. And it generates revenue all year. If I'm wrong, let me know. But that's my opinion about it. That is the Shawn1113 podcast. Thank you for joining me. Stay encouraged and happy Easter.